Good morning and happy Sabbath. While we were driving over here, we were talking about what Sabbath means to each of us. And all of us appreciate how Sabbath is a command to rest. It's a break from the rest of your life. And last night we heard an illustration that, like, if you're running a race and you're never able to rest, like, you just burn out. So having this time to rest, it gives you energy to recharge. And so Dorcas was sharing how, like, Sabbath prepares her for the whole next week. At the same time, I'm really enjoying my classes this term. I don't know where he went, but Jayson can testify that our Pauline epistles class, it's really, really enjoyable. And the book I was assigned to is Philippians. And I like mental health, and there he is. It's really neat to see how much just changing the way you think affects your circumstances, affects your life. And something interesting that I noticed this week was in our health coaching class, we were looking at resources from Harvard. So there was an article talking about how you can find joy and peace during hard times. And it's talking about the difference between joy and happiness. Happiness is that emotion from just like circumstances, but joy is a state of mind. And it's talking about how to increase joy. It's connecting with your spiritual side and acts of service and physical exercise. And it's like it's what Philippians is talking about, but it's from Harvard. It was really cool to see that connection. And like Philippians, the theme is having the mind of Christ. So it's really cool to see how Philippians is like saying the same thing as Harvard. So today I want to look at the part of the book that really stands out to me. And that's Philippians chapter 4, towards the end of the book. And like Paul is writing the book of Philippians from prison. I haven't been to prison, but I don't think it's like a very nice place. And you have to have like people bring you things. You don't have you can't sleep well. You don't have friends. Like, prison is not a nice place to be. And so when his friends, Epaphroditus, when he brings gifts to Paul, it's really, really interesting to see Paul's reaction. So in verse 10, he starts thanking them for the gift. So Philippians 4, chapter 4, verse 10. But I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at last your care for me has flourished again. So they gave him gifts and he's thanking them for it. And he says, though you surely did not care, though you surely did care, but you lacked opportunity. So he's saying he knows the Philippian church cared about him, and they wanted to give, they just didn't have the opportunity. But then the next verse is the interesting part. He says, not that I speak in regard to need. So they're giving him like food and supplies while he's in prison, but he doesn't need it. I don't know, that's really surprising to me. Like, if I'm hungry in prison and somebody brings me food, I'd be happy, I'd be grateful, like, I needed this. But he doesn't say, like, thanks, I really needed this. He's like, thank you, but I didn't need it. And so he explains why. He says, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am to be content. Whatever state I am. And Paul's been through everything. Like, he talks about in 2 Corinthians chapter 11 how, like, he's been put in jail many times. He's almost died. Like, he's been 39 lashes. The idea is that, like, the 40th one would kill you. He experienced that 5 times. He's been shipwrecked. He's been stoned. Like, they stoned him. They thought he was dead. And then he gets back up and goes back to the city. He's been shipwrecked three times. He spent a day and a half in the sea. Like in the ocean, just like a day and a half just swimming, or maybe holding on to something, a day and a half. And he's learned to be content. That's powerful, like just swimming in the ocean, content. Whatever state he's in, he's learned to be content. He says, I know how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things, I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. That's really powerful. Like your circumstances, you can be anywhere, in whatever state, and still be content. You can have all that you need. Like what does content mean? It means you don't need anything. So if you're swimming in the ocean with just like nothing, basically, that's still enough. And how are you able to do this? Then we come to the famous verse, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So all this crazy thing to be able to be beaten and stoned and to not want anything. It's Christ who's able to do that. You can do all of these difficult things through Christ. But there's something interesting I want to point out. It says all things through Christ. So it makes sense that you need Christ to do the hard things when you're abased, when in those difficult circumstances. But all things also includes the positive. When you're abounding, when you have everything physically, when your circumstances are good, you still need Christ to be content. You see people chasing circumstances, trying to get more wealth and fame, but they're not content. They're looking in the wrong place for contentment. And so, even in the good circumstances, you need Christ to be able to have that contentment. Only Christ can give contentment. And it's, just to repeat it, like possessions, whatever we have, a position at work or like getting promoted, some achievement, accomplishing something, it feels good for a minute, but it doesn't last. It doesn't bring true contentment. And that means like a person, a talent, a possession, it can never meet those needs that only Christ can. Paul goes on to encourage them for sharing. In verse 14, nevertheless, you have done well that you shared in my distress. Talks about how they're the church that shares with him. And then verse 17, not that I seek the gift, but I seek the fruit that abounds on your account, abounds to your account. So he's encouraging them to give, but not because he wants the gift, because giving is good for them. It's like, thank you, I appreciate it, but I think the giving is good for you. It's good to your account. Indeed, I have all and abound. I am full, having received from Epaphroditus the things sent from you, a sweet-smelling aroma, an acceptable sacrifice, well-pleasing to God. The first part of that verse 18 says, indeed, I have all and abound. So he had all. He had all he needed before they gave the gift. So I think that's a crazy perspective. Like when somebody gives you something, we don't need it. We appreciate the gift because of what it does to that person, not because of what it gives to us. And he then says in verse 19 that God shall supply all your need according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. So even when you give, you're trusting that God will supply your needs. And Paul's reminding them that God will supply. So giving is a good thing because of what it does to us. And we trust God will supply all of our needs. It's neat to understand, but it's harder to apply. Like, even earlier this week, like, it's it's easy to feel discontented, to like complain about something or to want something or like want something to change. If we're feeling stressed, if we're feeling anxious, if we're like comparing, those are signs of discontentment. And so we try to naturally like change the circumstances, and we want things to change so then that will satisfy our contentment. Like if only this would be this way or this would change, if whatever. But what needs to change is letting Christ into our heart. Those circumstances, even if it happens, it won't satisfy. So this is just a reminder that every day we should turn to Christ. He's the only one who can satisfy and give us contentment. And no matter where we are, like my life is so much better than Paul right now. I'm not in prison. I'm not getting beaten. I'm not getting stoned. I'm not shipwrecked. And if Paul's content in these situations, I can be content where I am. Thank you.